4.2. Where do I send my sitcom script? On the Sitcom Geek blog, this is the question asked most often and the most popular blog post. It's clearly on everyone's mind, and I give the same answer every time. You could send your script into competitions, no harm in that, more on those later. You could send it to nebulous corporations who have a public service remit and will genuinely read it, eventually. It's better than leaving it in a drawer. I shouldn't bother sending it to an agent, just at this stage. Send it to a producer who makes programs you like, someone you think will get what you're trying to do. They might be at the BBC or an independent production company. Find them on the internet, send them the script. Spell their name correctly, write a polite covering email that doesn't make you look like a nut job, a stalker, or a precocious 12-year-old, even if you are. Hide this fact. Then wait. I used to say you should send a hard copy, but these days I'm not so sure. I think email is probably fine. A hard copy is harder to ignore. You'd have to throw it in the bin to get rid of it, and I don't believe a serious comedy producer would throw away a sitcom script without even reading the first couple of pages. And given your first couple of pages are awesome, right? You should at least get your script read. But these days sending it via mail might be a bit weird. Either way, if they read it and it's really good, they will call you. Really and truly. Most scripts aren't any good, including those written by experienced professionals, including me. So if you've written something that isn't broadcastable but shows promise and talent, they'll call, they'll email, they'll contact you somehow. Eventually. Bear in mind, they have work to do, a job in hand, and it doesn't really involve you. But they need shows to produce, and every time they open an envelope or an email, they fear the worst but hope for the best. They want a hit. Don't send it to loads of producers at a time, maybe 2 or 3, and if you hear nothing after a few weeks and there's no interest, try some more producers. If you don't hear back ever, maybe, just maybe, the script is not as good as you thought it was, in which case, do what all professional writers do. Do it again. Rewrite, edit, change, delete, type, scream, delete, type, read, simmer, pause, read again, edit, and then send. And if you're not prepared for any of the above, may I recommend another job? The producer works for a company that says it doesn't accept unsolicited scripts. Should I send it anyway? It's up to you. I would say there's no harm in sending it. If you do send it and you don't hear back, it would be unreasonable of you to pester them with phone calls and emails subsequently for feedback given their pre-stated policy. Personally, I think saying you don't accept scripts is a bizarre policy for a comedy company to have, given the scripts are where the jokes and the money come from. But given there are tens of thousands of sitcom scripts floating around the UK at the moment and thousands more generated every year, they have to draw the line somewhere. Plus, you open yourself to the usually groundless charge of plagiarism. More about that in a moment. Should I send my scripts to agents? Yes, you can, but in my experience, it's that agents tend not to get involved if you don't have stuff going on. Many are good-hearted and want to encourage new writers, but they have to make a living like the rest of us. They are not the shortcut to a career they are often thought to be. They are very useful to people who already have a career. Is it worth sending to the BBC Writers' Room? Yes. They have lots of good script readers who know stuff and can spot funny. They are mandated and paid to find new talent and encourage it, and that could involve you. A positive response from the BBC Writers' Room is well worth having because it means that some people at the BBC know about you. You might start getting invited to some free workshops at which you might learn stuff and hear about opportunities. You might meet other writers in a similar position and maybe get to know some producers. In short, you might feel like you're getting somewhere. Why can't I just send a treatment or outline of my idea? Because if you're an unknown, you have to prove you can execute an idea as a script. Ideas are fairly easy to come up with. If you want a career as a writer, you have to show what you can do. They're very unlikely to commission a script from you if they've no idea about your ability to write. Of course, this producer may have seen you do something else, like an Edinburgh show or a play or a YouTube video, which might affect things. But as a general rule, if you want to show you're a writer and you would like to be hired to write your idea, you need to write it and show them. Do I need to copyright my idea? Is my idea going to be stolen? The short answer is no. The longer answer is, you can't copyright an idea, only the expression of an idea. If you've written a script and someone rips it off word for word, that's easy to prove, and I can't think of a single case in the sitcom world where that's happened. But you're more likely to be worried that your white-hot idea is going to be taken away from you. Your secret formula for success will be given away. But, as with the answer to the previous question, the producer isn't so much looking for ideas as writers, or writers who can execute their ideas. Besides, it's unlikely that your idea hasn't been done before, somewhere, somehow. Formats, characters, situations. There is nothing new. I'm not getting anywhere with my script. What should I do? Write something else. If you're a writer, you'll like writing for its own sake, and that is the thing that gives you pleasure in a bizarre and twisted way. If you're not already doing so, try writing sketches. Sketch writing, especially for radio, is a tried and tested way into sitcom. The likes of John Sullivan, Richard Curtis, David Renwick and Andy Hamilton, to name a few, started this way. In one sense, a sitcom is a series of sketches, so learning the craft of economic funny writing is probably the best foundation you can have, and through it, you develop relationships with producers, with whom you can develop longer narrative scripts.